Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to look at why I think as we head into January, we're going to be looking at a cold change. We're looking at some stratospheric warming happening. We're going to dig into that. Plus, we're going to talk about where we've been so far this winter, where the heavy snow has been, and where I think it's headed over the next couple of weeks. I think it's out west. I think it's around the Great Lakes. A lot to dig into today. New subscribers, welcome back. Thousands of you have subscribed over the last couple of weeks. Thank you so much. And if you're brand new to the channel, I mean like brand new, like today's the first day you've seen the channel. I'm Travis Roberts. I used to be a chief meteorologist on television, but when I got out of the business, I always found myself following forecasting and modeling, and that's what I'm doing now. And I decided, you know what, let's make some videos about it. So if you like this kind of content, you think you'd like it, come back and let's follow the weather together. And I always love hearing from you, so drop me a comment down below. Let me know what things are like in your world. All right, let's not beat around the bush. I want to talk about what I think is going to happen as we head into January. Over the next couple of weeks, yes, we're going to warm up. We're going to see ups and downs, wild swings in the weather, temperatures up, down. But across the Arctic right now, some cold air up in the stratosphere. This right here would likely tell me that we're strengthening our polar vortex, keeping the cold air locked up. What you want to see is stratospheric warming, and this is what we're starting to see, especially as we head toward the 18th, 19th, and the 20th. Look how strong this is getting here across Siberia. This, in my mind, would really disrupt what's going on up across the Arctic. Usually after you see these types of events, you start to see that cold air spill down into North America. We saw this last January. We're talking about back in early 2024. And this kind of looks like what we were seeing around the Christmas time period when you saw that stratospheric warming. I would argue it might have been a little bit further south, but nonetheless, you would definitely displace some cold air here. Another thing, I'm not going to get into it, the Madden-Julian oscillation, the MJO, is expected to be in phase 6 or phase 7. That typically is a cooler phase across North America, more preset, an active jet stream. So I think things are lining up for more cold as we head into January and more snow. Here's the snow we've seen so far, mostly into the Northeast, into the Rockies, and of course downwind of the Great Lakes. Look at these numbers, over 100 inches in some areas, especially right along the spine of the Cascades. Down here in the Sierra, we've seen some snow, maybe not as much though, several inches, and it's kind of been slow starting the ski season out here. I think there will be more snow on the way across Colorado. We've definitely picked up some snow. We had that wild system across parts of New Mexico and Colorado that brought a lot of heavy snow here several weeks ago. Across the northern plains, not as much snow here. We've had multiple events, but not a big dump of snow. We've not had our first blizzard in many of these areas. We've not had a huge snowstorm. Although around the Great Lakes, up here to the Arrowhead of Minnesota, we've seen some decent snow accumulations and a decent snowpack on the ground right now. We've got some rain moving in too. That could cause some problems with all of the snow that's on the ground downwind of Lakes Ontario and Lake Erie. Some of these areas have seen feet and feet of snow, and across northern New England, a lot of snow too. It's also been cold in the east. Speaking of ski season, I talked about the west. Across the east, we're more reliant on cold and snowmaking, and it has been absolutely cold. Some places, I think, probably breaking records for as much snow as they've been able to make this early in the season. So a good start to the ski season across most of the Appalachians into the Northeast. Again, your heavy snow near Watertown, southeast of Buffalo, and really south of Lake Erie here. Down into the Appalachians, we've seen some snow, places like Snowshoe up in northern West Virginia, western Maryland. That's been the heavy snow. And all of this snow here really hasn't fallen in one snow event. It's been several. And some snow's fallen here, too, back across Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana. This hasn't been a huge snow event, but nonetheless, you've seen a few flakes here. And then downwind of the Great Lakes, Lake Michigan, also Lake Superior into the UP, some snow that we talked about. Now, how much snow are we expecting in the future? Well, let's get into it. Right now, we're going to start across the east and we'll work our way west. Temperatures on the way up. We're definitely cold across northern parts of New England as we head into Monday. Temperatures starting out in the single digits, but here comes your warm air. You can see that advecting or moving north. Advection, that's a meteorological term. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's moving north, all right? We're going to get warmer, so to speak, as we see that southwest flow. But here comes the cold back again across the upper Midwest into the Great Lakes, with temperatures dropping back into the teens and 20s from Wisconsin over into the UP of Michigan. And then here comes your front. Pretty clear to see as we head into Wednesday, and it's going to stall right here along the coast. I think that keeps us warm enough for rain here into the big cities along the coast. But on the backside of this, as this cold air rushes in, it's going to meet up with low pressures, moisture that moves up along our front, and that could bring some snow back here on the west side of it. And look at this Arctic air surging south with temperatures heading into early Thursday morning in the teens below zero, maybe for places like northern Wisconsin over to Madison, to Green Bay, Milwaukee. We may be below zero, and highs on really Tuesday may not get above zero, or at least very close to zero in these areas. And there's the Arctic air spilling east again. More, I'll say it again, if you're not a skier or a snowboarder, you don't care, but more snowmaking opportunities for the resorts here in the east. Temperatures, though, start to rebound some as we head into next weekend, back up into the 30s, and there comes that warm air again. So, again, I think we go up and down. If you're hoping for winter, hold on. We're going to see it, I think, again, into January. And it's hard to argue we've not already started off pretty cold. Yeah, maybe you haven't seen a big snowstorm, but we have been a good 10 to 15 degrees or more below average across a lot of the east to start December. Here's the system we're looking at as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. It's back here across the southwest. This is vorticity. This is your spin in the atmosphere. And what you want to see on the bottom of these troughs is this vorticity really to start to dig. And that's going to pull your trough further south. It's going to energize it, create a little more strength. It's positively tilted, and that means it's leaning from northeast to southwest. What you want for a strong storm is a negatively tilted trough. And what we see is as this vorticity swings around the bottom of this really broad trough that starts to dig out across the eastern U.S., boom, right there it goes negative. And that, I think, is going to cause some cold air to really interact with our system and bring some snow into the Appalachians, into the Northeast. Not a lot. This isn't going to be like a classic nor'easter by any stretch, but it could be some snow on the back end as our cold front gets sort of hung up by this area of low pressure and the energy moving in. All right, here comes the moisture as we head into Tuesday. There's some more snow across northern parts of New England, some light snow showers back here across the Dakotas with this cold northwest flow. And there's the rain again across the south with the broad southwest flow as our energy rounds the trough, starts to move up the east coast. Low pressure starts to form. We'll probably see two areas of low pressure, but this second one that starts to form down here along our front, this is where your cold is going to interact with some moisture, and that could drop some snow. And as this moves north and east, some snow back here into parts of the Adirondacks, maybe even the Catskills, and then into the Green and White Mountains. Now, the problem, though, would be if this thing is a little further west, which it looks like, we may actually see more rain into parts of New Hampshire and then a flip over to snow, with the heavier snow being up here into Canada. Regardless of how this storm forms, where it goes, I think behind this trough, strong winds out of the west-northwest, that's going to cause more lake effect snow here across Michigan, New York, Pennsylvania. Some of this wind starts to turn more westerly as we head towards the weekend. That could put some snow bands up into Buffalo again. Something to keep an eye on as things start to settle down before it gets shut down as high pressure moves east. Moisture starts to return here. We'll have to watch this area. Maybe some ice and snow on the north side of that heading into next weekend. Your snow, really the highest will be just north of the border here into Canada. Some snow across the UP of Michigan over the next couple of days. A good 6 to 12 inches, though, I think, once you get rid of this system, because some of this is being double dipped here across the eastern Canada, and then more snow building in behind our next system around the Great Lakes into the northeast. All right, here's what the GFS is looking like. This is the latest run. It also has that snow here on the backside of this system moving through pretty quickly. So that would put a couple of inches of snow down here into the Appalachians. And then there's your core of cold air moving right across the Great Lakes, which, by the way, are very warm. Water temperatures in some cases close to 50 degrees. So when you get that, you got a lot of cold Arctic air moving across. It's no wonder we're seeing a lot of instability and that lake effect continuing. Let's go beyond this. And first, let's go out west here. We've got our system moving through now, heading into Sunday night into Monday. That's going to bring the snow to an end. It starts to kick to the east, some snow showers lingering here into the mountains. And then we're quiet here across the west coast. All the activity still offshore. So through Wednesday, even into Thursday, I think we're looking okay. So a fairly tranquil week, at least the first half. Into the weekend, though, things get active across the northwest. One system bringing some light rain and snow showers here. This will be an interesting piece of energy to watch. If this thing can bomb out off the coast, now we're talking about the possibility of not just getting a strong storm off the coast, but we might bring in a lot of moisture out ahead of this as we tap into an atmospheric river. That would put some heavy snow in here into the Sierra, also into the Cascades, and up into the Canadian Rockies as well. And the next system behind that, heading into next week, we're still pretty far out on this one. That could bring a heavy dump of snow to Northern California, the Sierra as well, which, we need some snow here. It's not really snowed a lot so far, but the winter's just starting. A lot of folks getting a little antsy about snow, and again, still early in the season. Over the next week or so, I think the best chance for snow will be here, also up into the Canadian Rockies, and there's a decent chance for some snow here, also into parts of Alberta, into Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and there's your snow shadow effect, right? You get downwind of the mountains here into Calgary, also east of the mountains here in Montana. Not as much moisture, so clearly not as much snow. Let's dive into the details a little bit closer here and time this out. You've got your snow showers here moving through the northern plains across the Dakotas, heading into Monday morning. This isn't going to be a big snow event, and some snow showers dropping south here into Colorado. Do we see some snow here into parts of western Oklahoma? Maybe a few flurries, maybe a few snow showers as this cold air pushes south, and your rain finally starting to kick to the east here. Now, moisture starts to return off of the Gulf as our trough starts to dig in. There's your real Arctic air bringing some snow showers here into parts of the Dakotas. So we'll see more snow showers heading into Tuesday. Not a lot over the next couple of days up in this area, but still, we could add up a little bit, coating to a couple of inches. Not a huge deal. Your rain, this is a lot of rain. It could be heavy at times, moving into the Appalachians, into the Ohio Valley, heading into Monday. A wet start here into Pittsburgh and also into D.C. Now, the first half of the day from Baltimore to D.C. down to Richmond may be okay, but that rain will be moving in through the day and then more showery across the south as our bulk of moisture moves into the northeast. And it's cold in the northeast, and the problem, I think, if the rain can arrive early enough, we could see some icing issues, not just here, but also in parts of Canada. I think it's north of Toronto here and cold enough for all snow up to the north. But if the moisture can arrive early enough, we get that cold air trapped in the valleys, the Mohawk Valley, we could see some icing. A little bit cold, though, here on the north side of this. I think that's why we say all snow for the Green and White Mountains. As this warm air moves north, though, because, that's the trend. You're going to see that continue. We could see more ice, more sleet, but all snow, though, I think here for northern New England into parts of Maine. Again, snow totals here aren't looking huge through Wednesday. Several inches are possible up into the mountains, and then here comes your snow with your East Coast system. We'll call it that as it moves up. Now, it's not going to hit Boston, New York. I get it, but it's going to move up the coast. Your coastal low, I guess, would be a better way to describe that, with some snow here, and then there's your lake effect that kicks in behind it with some lighter snow showers, and we could see a coating or so as some impulses move in from the northwest through the Ohio Valley. All right, that's all I got for now, guys. Hope you found this helpful. See you next time.